All right, so it's about time for me to start working on the intercooler piping. So my hot side from my turbo. Again, plan is just I'm gonna have to elbow the outlet because it's so close here. Run it down. I'll take this I think it's like an evaporator or something. Take that out, or some part of the AC unit. I'll take that out. I run it down through here. Have my intercooler, and then charge pipe for the cold side. It's gonna come up through here. Hit the intake. Um, I've already kind of seen basically where this is gonna fit. Again, I'm gonna have to see if I can back. I'm gonna have to clock it pretty much as best I can because see how close it is. So regardless, I know I'm gonna have to cut this elbow off. Or not this elbow. I'm gonna need to cut this piece off here, and I'll cut that off, and then this is where I actually weld the elbow onto. Um, got a cast aluminum elbow. Again, that'll be welded on, pretty much something like that. But again, like I said, I'm just gonna cut this excess off. Obviously, I don't need that much room. Then if I have to cut any more off, I will. But I'm trying to not to have to mess up the paint. So I'm gonna cut this ridge off. Plus this ridge is gonna give me a good little bit of extra meat to weld onto. So I don't really have to worry about burning through anything right here. So that's the plan. I'm gonna go ahead and chop that off now. I got it taped off. Got some paper towels and stuff stuffed down the inlet there, and then the back side also got taped off, so shouldn't have to worry about any fragments getting there. I'm gonna tape off this nipple as well, and obviously I'm gonna clean it out afterwards, but I just want to make sure I don't have any issues now. Should be a pretty straight cut, nothing too crazy. I'm gonna use the bandsaw here, see if we can get through this. Pretty flush cut all the way around. You guys can see that. And pretty even. Obviously, I'll go make sure I kind of grind it down. And that's that. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out. So I just welded up this piece. Once again, not perfect, but hey, did a little better than I thought. I actually kind of went ahead and kind of melted the inside. I didn't use any filler on this. I just kind of melted it down just to make sure it was sealed. And then this is that elbow I had. I had to cut. So this is the equal length elbow. And it's basically cut here, obviously on this side, just to get it kind of away from the wall. Turbo's kind of clocked where I want it. That's about as much space as I'm gonna be able to give it from the runner anyway. And obviously I can't turn it any more clockwise to this end's smaller, so we'll make more of a gap here. But since obviously if I turn it far that way, it's gonna hit more of the firewall. I mean, I could trim a little more off of that, but I actually wanna leave this ridge so I can have a little bit more meat to weld to and be a little more forgiving. So I think this is clocked where I want it. It's clocked where I want it. That's how it'll be. And then, like I said, I'm working on figuring out the direction of this elbow. And I want a pretty much a straight shot. And I can get all these wires out of the way. Let me try to move this out of the way for 1 second. Please tuck it up. And obviously I need to get rid of this AC, whatever component this is. Cool, that's pretty much a straight shot right here, which is where it'll flow. Flow right over here, and then I'm gonna take it down right where this guy is. So this is pretty much probably about where it'll be. I may send it down a little bit, but again, I wanna make sure I'm not sending it down into this frame where I have to kind of loop it up. I rather just straight shot it. But the Wiggins clamp will allow for some little play. But yeah, I think this is about it right here. Just looking at it, I think that is gonna be it. Looks pretty good. I might tuck it down a little bit more. Yeah, I think that's it right there. And I can go ahead and kind of mark that and weld it up. All right, got that tacked up. This is about where it's putting me. It's pretty much right where I wanted it to be. I think that'll work out nicely. Welds aren't terrible. I just gotta find a rhythm and comfort. I need to get a welding table. Ideally maybe right there. And a straight shot it kind of right there. And maybe I can dent this in if it gets that close, but again, I always got some room to, got a little bit of room I can flex that down a little bit. Still got a little gap there, so. Looking pretty good right now. That's looking pretty good right now. Go ahead and try to finish welding this thing. All right, so I went ahead and finished welding up that the elbow on the compressor side of the turbo. I also went ahead and welded the V-band on to a piece of straight pipe and started cutting some pipes to work on my bands. My intercooler's not mounted yet, but I do know I'm gonna always, either way, I'm gonna have to make that straight shot and then that turn down right below, behind and below the headlight. So I just went ahead and did that initial piece and then held off until I got the intercooler mounted. All right, so intercooler came today, so I can start working on this thing. I went ahead and put radiator, front core support, bash bar on. Bumper I don't necessarily need. I just wanted to kind of see where I might need it to have trimmed. But I put all this on to make sure I didn't have any interference. Obviously, I was pretty sure with this side I'm gonna be good to go. It's not much down here to get in the way at all, so this should all be good. I may have to trim some of this bottom bumper stuff. It's already broken half of it anyway, but Um, Probably have to trim some of that. I do want to make. I'll probably make some kind of maybe skid plate for it or something too. But um, this is a 4-inch bar and plate intercooler. Um, Nothing too fancy. You can kind of see the fin count in there if I can get the focus. Different little fins in there. It's a pretty good quality. This is I'm pretty sure this is probably just one of the generic type intercoolers, but this is from On 3. I used to get some stuff back from them back in my Chevy days. They were affordable, decent quality, or good quality for what I had anyway. I'm sure there's better out there, but for affordability, this is perfect. Um, as you know, I went ahead and did HD clamps, so gonna do the same thing here. So I went ahead and cut off the normal clamps. Just went ahead and bandsaw those off. And then I had a reducer. It was longer than this. I went ahead and cut that down as well. So obviously I'll just be welding. This is a 3-inch to 2.5 because it's 2.5-inch for the hot side of the intercooler. And then the cold side is going to be 3. So I needed to neck this down because the inlets and outlets are 3 inches. So I have this I weld on here. And then of course I weld the HD clamp onto this. Then I had to actually figure out how I'm gonna mount it. So I know 4 inches. I'll have to trim into this bash bar a little bit, which I expected. I didn't even know this thing's aluminum, so I may actually build a mount off of this and weld it. But we'll see. I'm not too sure about that yet. I'm gonna start with welding this and go from there. All right, so here's what we ended up with. I'm getting there. Again, I got the reducer and then got the HD clamp. That's not much thicker than the original piece because I cut that about here. I mean, maybe twice. Actually, no, it was thicker than that. So right about here. So maybe another inch max. But again, I know I have plenty of room to make that happen. And yeah, man, we'll see. I'll start trying to fit this thing up. But I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Again, this should be all the coolant in there. I think I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna actually Brillo pad it, kind of give it that brushed aluminum look. But I think I'm gonna do that to all the intercooler piping once I'm done with it. So for now, this part's done. Now I can start actually figuring out how this is gonna get in here. Got some spots I think will do pretty decent. So, all right. God damn it, this thing's annoying. So I had pretty much right here. Kind of stepped over a little bit. I'm gonna start there and I'm gonna cut to this. It's a little ridge in here. I'll just follow that ridge all the way down. That's the same mark I made right there. It's the same pretty much line. Gives me a little extra room. And then for the top, I'll do the same. Pretty much just gonna come to these bolt holes or these holes. I don't know what they were for, and I'll just follow those and link it along. trying to figure out the best way to cut this thing. Only thing I really have is a Ferris cutoff wheel, which I used before. That's why I used to cut the the tabs off of that, because my bandsaw obviously won't fit. And I don't have any other saws, so looks like I had to make it work with this cutoff wheel. But let's should work. That's what I'm liking. Still got some room right here. Got some room in the corners. Barely stops right before it hits that. I do want a little buffer. And then if I look down in the hole here, I still got some space between this little support on both sides. And then it's pretty much about even. I think I can shift it to the driver's side slightly, just if I use these bolts I trimmed off as markings. See, that one's right there. Obviously, it's also a little tilted. So, but for the most part, I think this will pretty much be it, about right there. Yep, I think that's about it. Now I just got to figure out how I'm going to mount it. All right, here's what I'm rocking with so far. I had the L bracket. I pretty much made the L bracket, lined up the holes. So I have the L bracket now on here. Obviously, once I'm done, I'll trim this down. Obviously, I don't want this big thing blocking the airflow. I'll also probably trim this one just because there's no need to be that long. Shape it up a little bit. So my plan for here was, once I get this thing back and kind of positioned where I want it, then I want that gap, a little gap on each side. And ideally, I would like, my thoughts was, use this flat stock. I might be able to put it behind. I don't need to go that high, but right under here. And then I would weld these together. Drill a couple holes, maybe 3 holes here. That should be enough to keep this relatively firm. And obviously I'll make up something for the bottom as well. But for now, you know, just to at least get the top mounts done. This way this will just bolt up right there. And then the same thing for the other side, which again, I do know these sides are slightly different as far as the way this design and that's designed, because of this has the catch here, so this one's shaped a little different. So this one I may have to do from behind, but again, same thing here. Can line it up. And again, I'll try to make sure I have some nice space. So I think I'll probably actually put it slightly behind, something like that. It gets it off everything back there. I think I'll go for that. I'm gonna put this down and see what I can figure out. Might throw some tacks on. Alright guys, this is what I got. It's in there in its own weight. Still got some room. I think I am gonna try to grind this side down just a tad. Just give me a little more room. I mean, obviously the bottom's not supported, so it's a little dangly. Gotta come up with something to kind of support the bottom to lock it in. If I do that, I probably actually don't need to do that. And I just may actually move that hole slightly forward, or kind of wallow out that hole a little bit so I can kind of have some play back and forth here. That way I can move that one up just a tad. Outside of that, man, I pretty much just had that L bracket. I tried to cut some of that down so it's not, I still got to clean it up and stuff a little more, but so it doesn't have that big piece here to block the wind, so air can move freely. I just tacked those pieces on here. Again, nothing pretty. I'll cover that with paint. You shouldn't be able to see this anyway. And I just found the plate goes about here. I was gonna use that existing hole, but it's two rivets right here. I didn't want to cut those, so I just made new holes. I wanted to make two to make sure it kind of couldn't flex that way. And did the same thing on this side. This thing's pretty sturdy, like I said. I just got to figure out a little piece for the bottom, and I don't know. I got to figure out what to do with that. I think I just run a piece of flat across the bottom here, maybe. And then maybe I could possibly tie it into the radiator. That'd be easy. And that should still kind of help it, resist any bouncing or flex. So I think that's actually what I'll do. I'll just get I don't have any more L brackets, so I got to get another piece of steel for that. So I'll probably get an L bracket here, or I may get an aluminum one. Put it there, and then probably have like a little tee off here, maybe one on each side, and I'll tie that into the radiator. Probably just drill holes in this flanges here, and then yeah, I should be able to maybe make that and make a little bend over, and that should work. I don't know. That's for what I'm thinking of right now. Unless I come up with something else. These both are aluminum. I could maybe weld some kind of aluminum piece from here, potentially over to here. So I may do that. But this is generally where it's going to be at. So now I can actually go ahead and start building out intercooler side, cold side piping. I got to get some 3-inch, and then I also have to get a Wiggins for this side. But outside of that, once I throw that thing on, be good to start messing with that cold side, but for now I'm gonna go ahead and try to finish up the hot side. But it's mounted, like I say, decent. Still got that space, got the air gap there, both sides. So I call that a success. Again, I'm gonna mark everything up. Then afterwards, obviously, I go through and kind of clean everything up, throw some paint on everything, and go from there. All right, y'all, moving right along with this intercooler piping. Then got the stuff mounted. Issue I ran into with the lights, so I put the headlights back in. Obviously, I wanted to make sure I had space. These headlights have this little module here because this model, I don't know, maybe it's a premium model, it has the feature where based on the turns and stuff like that, the lights actually articulate. I don't even think whoever bought this from, they did all kind of stuff. They took these apart and tried to do something with them. I'm gonna get new lights anyway, but if you see here, this box is kind of in a way, like I got a 3-inch chassis come through here. I can't fit that. There was also one here on this side, and I couldn't fit it over here either. But I'm replacing the headlights anyway. And most aftermarket headlights I see anyway don't have this module because they don't have that feature. So I just went ahead and removed the box from this side to kind of mimic what's actually going to be there. So that gives me that room. So once that's gone, that shouldn't be an issue. So again, that's one reason I wanted to make sure I put these in there. Still got the original bend I had here. Again, I plan to make a little mount off the frame rail here. I'm actually gonna trim my cut I've marked here just to trim that to give me a little more room if I need to drop that down. And then, like I said, I'll actually end up probably making some kind of tab, probably off of here to this little nut here is probably what I'll do, just to hold it stable. And then it will still have the articulation to be able to flex because the Wiggins clamp here, and then also because of the clamp here. So that shouldn't be an issue. I went ahead and welded this 90 onto this HD clamp. So now I really just have to bridge this gap here. I'm trying to kind of get this how it would be. Tube-wise, I know there are tools you can use to make sure these in the right place, but I know with the flexibility it's gonna give me, as long as I get it halfway close, I'm fine. As you see here, it's almost generally close to a straight shot. I do need to make sure it's back enough to not hit any of that. But yeah, I'm gonna go try to bridge this gap, and then that'll be it as far as that goes for the hot side. right, so I went ahead and, I'm still working on the intake. Hot side's done. Working on the cold side now. HD clamp came in. I'm still waiting on a couple extra pieces, but I do have my 180 bend here, so this will ideally this is gonna bend here, and then I'll have it cut right there and kind of come through here. But main issue I'm running into now through the intake on, I didn't realize how close this thing was. I think the lights I'm planning to get to replace this won't have this connector here like this. I think this will be shallower. So it may be just enough to turn and get down there. I also don't think the box on this side is as big either. But, I mean, that's really not much room to try to make a turn. So I think what I'm gonna have to do, it's gonna be to modify the throttle body just a little bit. I probably just cut of course I welded this HD clamp on. So I think I'm actually gonna cut it here. Gives me enough space to get the other clamp on. Then I'm gonna cut the throttle body. This is about an inch, give or take, that I can take out. So basically the lip will be back here. That'll give me a little bit more room to make that turn. Again, it's hard to say right now until I get the headlights I'm gonna use. I'm still debating actually going drive-by-wire anyway. I built the cables out a long time ago for them, because that's actually the cables right here, throttle body, so for the box style throttle body, which is what I plan to use. That actually would solve a lot of my issues, even as far as idle air control, things like that. So I think I am probably gonna go that route. Still debating, but for now, just continuing this, I am gonna go ahead and weld on the other side, the HD clamp for here, the 3. So this is 2.5. Then I have my 3 here. So I'll at least weld the HD clamp on, probably get the first bend, because I'm gonna run it through this hole regardless. Because I think that gives the best flexibility. So we'll see. I may just go ahead and again cut this off, at least here, shorten this clamp, and then go from there, because this is the other side of that. So again, even now, like you can see, like I can put this on, I won't be able to fit that. Obviously, I can cut this down a lot to start that turn. But I think that's what I'm gonna go with, cutting that down. All right, so here's what I got so far for the throttle body. Once I cut it, fortunately again I painted it, so originally it was something like this. That was my this is my bead from the original weld, so I cut that piece out. And then I'm gonna try to weld this onto here. And a little different size-wise, so I'm gonna see how I'm gonna have to figure this out to get it to work. But hopefully it actually should fit right inside of it. I just need to make sure that the clamp can still fit on. Also, make sure I clean this out. here's where I'm at so far. Then got a throttle body. This was giving me some issues, not gonna lie. So my other sides definitely look better weld-wise, but it's in there. So without the bulb in, it clears. Now with the bulb in, I wouldn't be able to get this bulb in with it, but I think, like I said, with the one I'm planning to get, I think this is detached. So I think this is flat, and it's like a cable with this connector at the end of the cable. So I don't think it's actually on the light. So that'll give me some space. If not, I may have to figure something else out. Again, I may do the Bosch anyway. With the Bosch drive-by-wire, I can actually just, hopefully, because I think that one's yeah, 82 mil, I think, roughly. So that's roughly around the size of the pipe, so I won't need that reducer. The reducer is kind of what's giving me that extra space right here. So if I didn't have that reducer and I was straight here, that would give me just what I need. But we're in here. I don't think that turn's not too crazy. I mean, that's still relatively, you know, not ideal per se, probably, but I don't think that's too bad. It's actually even out of full 90, but we'll see. Should be all right. And then I have my piece already down here. So I think honestly the easiest thing for me to do, here's my other piece. I have one other 90 degree. Again, if I make those 90 degrees, kind of meet up. So I'm looking about here. And then at this point, all I need to do really is literally like make that meet up with this one. All right, so finish the cold side of the intake. This one gave me a little bit more trouble. Of course, I couldn't get it to go as smoothly as the other side, but worked out pretty decent. Again, welded on the 3-inch HD clamp flange. Still got flexibility both sides, all the way around. This is pretty much a quick 90, kind of another 90 going up to like a, it's probably like more like a 30-degree bend here, and then it's a straight shot. So it should just clear the headlight. If not, I may have to like maybe dent this in just a tad. And then I also need to figure out blow-off valve placement. Either that'll go here on this side. I think I'm just gonna put it like about here, or I'll just put it kind of right here, which should still fit. It's nothing that goes here, so that'll fit. So right now, complete exhaust, a complete intake on cold side, or hot side rather. Going through right up into my intake. So turned out pretty decent. Now that I got that set up, I wanted to get that set up before I started kind of digging into the plumbing. So I'm gonna take all of this back off on the front. Intercooler's coming off, pipes, radiators coming out, cores coming off. intake can come back off, and then I can kind of start finalizing kind of some of the plumbing and the wiring stuff that I want to do. But yeah, so far so good.